What if a plane took off one morning and simply ceased to exist? No wreckage, no signal, no goodbye. And then, 37 years later, it came back. Same plane, same passengers, same pilot. Not one day older. This is the story of Flight 914, and once you hear it, you will never look at the sky the same way again. The year was 1955. The weather was clear, the air was calm, every instrument on board read normal. The flight had been in the air for exactly 1 hour and 45 minutes. And then, nothing. No distress call, no warning, no last transmission. The plane simply vanished from radar, as if someone had reached into the sky and erased it. Florida Air Traffic Control went silent. Officers stared at blank screens, and one by one, the horrible truth settled in. The plane was gone. Search ships combed the ocean for days. The Navy, the Coast Guard, aircraft flying grid patterns over open water. They found nothing. No wreckage, not a drop of fuel, not a single twisted piece of metal, as if Flight 914 had never existed at all. 10 days later, the case file was stamped with 4 words that destroyed the hope of every waiting family. Presumed crash, no survivors, case closed. But some cases refused to stay closed. 37 years passed. The world moved on. New planes, new technology, new skies. And then, on an ordinary morning in 1992, at Simon Bolivar International Airport in Caracas, Venezuela, an air traffic controller looked at his radar screen and felt the blood drain from his face. An aircraft. Old model. No flight plan. No notification. No explanation. It was simply there, descending from the clouds, lowering its landing gear, as if it had every right to be. He grabbed his radio. Unidentified aircraft, state your identity. A voice crackled through the static. Calm, steady, eerily confident. This is Captain Miguel Victor, Pan American Airlines, flight number 914, requesting clearance to land. New York to Miami. The controller's hands went still on the desk. Pan American Airlines had shut down just 1 year before in 1991, and Flight 914 had vanished in 1955. He pulled the records, cross-checked the codes, verified the call sign. Every single detail matched. The captain's name, Miguel Victor, was listed on the original 1955 manifest. Something impossible was circling overhead. He pressed the mic with a trembling hand. Pan Am Flight 914, you are cleared to land on runway 5. Moments later, it descended from the blue, a Douglas DC-4, its body caked with decades of dust, paint peeling in long strips, faint rust creeping along the wings. No GPS, no digital instruments, no trace of modern aviation anywhere. It looked like a museum piece that had somehow climbed back into the sky. Then the door opened, and the passengers stepped out. Women in knee-length skirts from the 1950s, men in fedora hats and double-breasted suits, carrying handwritten paper tickets, vintage luggage, no barcodes, no digital anything. They looked confused, disoriented, blinking in the Venezuelan sunlight as if waking from a dream. One woman stepped onto the tarmac holding the hand of a small child, a toddler, perhaps 3 years old. But if that child had been 3 in 1955, he should have been over 40 by 1992. No one at Caracas Airport could breathe. These people were not ghosts. They were real. They were here. And they had absolutely no idea that 37 years had just passed them by. Word spread instantly. Airport security flooded the tarmac. Government officials, medical teams, immigration officers. Immigration officer Juan de la Corte was the first to approach the pilot for questioning. He reached the aircraft door, and it slammed shut. No warning, no announcement. The engines roared back to life. And without clearance, without permission, without a single word, Flight 914 took off. Every person on that runway stood frozen, staring upward, watching the old Douglas DC-4 climb higher and higher into the Venezuelan sky until it disappeared into the clouds and was never seen again. By the next morning, headlines screamed across the globe. Ghost plane returns, straight from 1955. Passengers haven't aged a single day. Is this proof of time travel? Witnesses gave statements, investigators filed reports, and in 1993, the American tabloid Weekly World News published a bombshell investigation. The claims were staggering. The passengers had been taken to a secret government facility. For them, subjectively, the flight had lasted only a few hours. They remembered nothing strange. No darkness, no void, no lost time, just a normal flight that somehow arrived 37 years late. The pilot reportedly whispered to one officer before the door slammed shut. "What year is it? Why does everything look so different?" Officer Juan de la Corte, on record, stated, "I heard the pilot's voice on the radio with my own ears. It was Miguel, the captain from 1955. I have no other explanation. Governments denied everything. Officially,